This week on WestfordCAT News, a rally fizzled when only the two promoters showed up at the town common. Our featured artist is illustrator Emily Keefe, and Jody Marchand, founder of the Live for Live Foundation, gives a candid interview about losing her daughter in an act of domestic violence.
But it's power and control, whether it's control over money, control over, if you go out with friends or...
I'm Joyce Polino Crane. Stay tuned. WestfordCAT News is next. Parents, if you are preparing your little one to go trick-or-treating on October 31st, consider tuning in to the Board of Health meeting on October 19th at 6 p.m. Following guidelines released by the Centers of Disease Control on September 22nd, the town's Board of Health members are expected to make a recommendation in light of COVID-19. Here's Town Manager Jody Ross.
The Board of Health did discuss Halloween trick-or-treating. They were waiting on the CDC to give guidelines. Those guidelines did come out today, and it appears that they kind of ranked things in terms of risk. So trick-or-treating, regular trick-or-treating did look like high risk, but the Board of Health is going to meet on October 19th and review and make a recommendation for the town. But I would say, based on what came out today, which we can put on our website tomorrow, it looks like they're looking for families to have alternative kind of Halloween celebrations to regular trick-or-treating. So we'll get that out there.
To watch the entire upcoming meeting, visit westfordcat.org. Just a heads up, Westford, that my Main Street interview with State Senator Ed Kennedy is online. In the half-hour interview, the senator discusses the legislation he's involved in, a bond bill that will fund a permanent Rourke Bridge in Lowell, and $2.1 million for pedestrian safety improvements along Oak Hill Road in Westford. Kennedy is chair of the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Committee and vice chair of Community Development and Small Business. Watch the entire video at westfordcat.org. A rally arranged by a Westford resident and her friend never got off the ground on September 19th, despite the women's best efforts. Erin McConnell, 30, and Chris Ann Landry, 35, of Merrimack, New Hampshire, arrived at the town common just after 12 p.m. on September 19th, carrying signs saying "Save Our Children" and "Defund Hollywood." Leading up to the rally, Westford residents expressed concern that the two women were connected to a nationwide movement called QAnon. QAnon's members claim a network of wealthy pedophiles are raising children in dark underground bunkers. When asked what the rally's purpose was and why no one came, Landry said this.
Well, the purpose of the rally was just to raise awareness for child trafficking and human trafficking in general. And as well as the pedophilia laws. They're not strict enough, I believe, and it doesn't sit right with me.
McConnell declined to speak on camera. WestfordCAT participated in the Road and Bush Community Center's annual yard sale on September 19th, selling donated games, jewelry, and other items for the 4-hour event. The TV station is raising money to bridge a budget gap for the current fiscal year. Here's Acting Executive Director Sarah Fletcher.
WestfordCAT volunteers raised $607 at the Road and Bush town-wide yard sale. A wide variety of donations came in from the community, which helped us raise $363 on the lawn at Frost School, as well as an additional $244 online at our virtual yard sale. We are so fortunate to have such strongly engaged board members and so many volunteers helping to raise money for WestfordCAT.
So WestfordCAT is done several fundraising activities this year, and this is our second one. We did an auction early on, and this is a yard sale where, especially during COVID times, we're trying to think of ways to help the community, and we've reached out for donations.
Stay tuned to WestfordCAT for all your local news. More than a dozen regional artists are lined up to exhibit their work at the Parish Center for the Arts. The exhibitions have been delayed due to the pandemic virus, but WestfordCAT will continue to feature the artists' work. Here's Emily Keefe, a professional ink and acrylic illustrator.
Patty Stalker here from WestfordCAT with a special series that focuses on regional artists that are scheduled to display their work at the Parish Center for the Arts Artist of the Month exhibitions. I recently spoke with Emily Keefe, a local ink illustrator studying at the New Hampshire Institute of Art. Emily lives in Westford, is a graduate of the Academy of Notre Dame in Tyngsboro, and has been a professional artist for the past 5 years. We spoke of her unique style of illustration.
I would describe it as sort of a mystical, Gothic form of art, and very interesting. Can you describe it in your own words?
Oh, definitely. So I would definitely describe it as Gothic and mystical, very pagan in background with old witchcraft and Wicca styles. It is based off of old block print from old book prints with line weight and stuff to add that real dark aesthetic to it.
Line weight, can you describe what that means to our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So line weight dictates the thickness and thinness of line to represent shadow and light cast. So when I'm using line weight, I use very scratchy, thin line to represent lighter form and dark, thick line for shadow. So it creates a very dimensional piece with it still being flat.
You know, you mentioned witchcraft, and there are a lot of female figures in your work, female hands, female bodies. What inspired you to engage in this particular art form?
So I think figure is very beautiful. I've always been a fan of doing the figure, and it's something that I explore in my artwork. I like the idea of showing the beauty of human form, and with the femininity of hands, I also tie it back to my Celtic background of Celtic witchcraft in my family.
Emily Keefe will be exhibiting at the Parish Center for the Arts in the near future. Look to the PCA website for details. And look for more spotlights on PCA exhibitors right here on WestfordCAT.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and board members of the Live for Live Foundation are developing a list of regional restaurants that will donate between 10 and 20% of their sales to the foundation. Here's founder Jody Marchand.
October happens to be Domestic Violence Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I guess you would call it. So Live for Live is going to, what our plan is during that month is to have restaurants give a percentage of your meal, have the proceeds go to Live for Live. So as you've probably heard about these, you know, you go to a local restaurant, the bill comes, you pay it, and the restaurant donates 20%, 15%. You know, some are very generous at 20%, others will do 10 or 15. And so we're going to have a whole list of restaurants, hopefully for the whole month.
Live for Live was founded in the wake of a horrendous tragedy. On February 3rd, 2010, police say Brian Marchand used a firearm to kill himself and his 17-year-old daughter, Olivia, known as Liv. His wife, Jody, was critically wounded but survived.
But it's power and control, whether it's control over money, control over, you know, if you go out with friends, or, you know, it's a pie, it's power control, and then it's various slices of that pie. And that's where I was at. I was not in the physical slice, so to speak. But when they know they're losing control, which is what happened to me, they're very often will lose it in some way, in some form. I mean, what happened to me is certainly not what, thank goodness, happens to everyone else.
To watch my entire Main Street interview with Marchand, visit westfordcat.org. That's it for now, Westford. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.